Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another OCC podcast. I am your host, David Jansen. Joining as co-host today is Nathan Stubby and my guest, the father of arm wrestling commentary from Australia, Jake Ward, better known as the Aussie arm wrestler. Welcome to the show, Jake.
Thank you. What an introduction. The father of arm wrestling commentating. I'll take it. Happy to be here.
So it's good to have you on, Jake. I know you as arm wrestling sensation. You're always giving your opinion. You're always commentating.
Yeah.
Give us a bit of your background. How did you grow up and where do you come from?
I come from Melbourne, Australia, the bottom right-hand corner of the world. Had a good upbringing. Got two older brothers. Got a beautiful mum who's my hero. She's a rock star. We grew up in a town about 45 minutes south from Melbourne. You know, everyone has their little niggles and things like that. But yeah, no, everything was all right. I just went to an ordinary high school. You know, class clown, as you could probably tell. Yeah, class clown, and then just a lover of sports. Huge sports fan. And that's all I wanted to surround my life with, and now very, very happily married with two beautiful girls, and yeah, I've built a career out of arm wrestling, surprisingly.
That's awesome.
So how did the arm wrestling career and commentary all start? Who did you look up to prior to starting your own commentary? Because obviously most times when we start something, like you were just saying about sports and stuff, we look up to others, either whether that be another family member or somebody in the greater world. Where did because you're a character and enjoyable to listen to, and you're always keeping it entertaining, and that is what people want. They don't just want to hear somebody talking. You got to keep it entertaining. Where did you get that from?
Oh, I've been a bit of a as mentioned before, David, like a bit of a class clown. I grew up watching your WWE. I grew up watching the NBA in the Jordan and Shaq era and the Allen Iverson era. You know, back in the NFL, you could throw a touchdown and do a dance, and you'd watch the movie. You know, I'm a huge Rocky fan. All the cliche things you can think of. The Rocky fans, the Van Damme fans, and everything was just, you know, motivational. Everything was just entertaining, and just growing up, whether it was hanging out with my mates or being with my family, them smiling and laughing and things like that is just something that I just hold dear to my heart. And if, you know, most of the time it comes at my expense, but it didn't matter at all. It was just, so from there, and then and the commentary side of things, I'm not sure if I really looked up to anyone per se, but geez, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Anytime I could talk about sports, that's all I really knew. I don't really follow politics. I don't really follow anything out. Like, okay, I'm at a party and we're talking about footy over here. I'm talking to you. I'm in a group chat over here. We're talking about the NBA. I'm talking to you guys. Oh, you guys talking about wrestling? Oh, let me get over here and have a chat with you. So the commentary of it, I understood at a young age, enhanced what I was watching, you know, especially with WWE. I really liked Marv Albert in the NBA. There's a guy in Australia named Bruce McAvaney. He would do the Olympics, the horse racing, and the Aussie rules footy here. You know, loved all my era of pro wrestling. Very rarely a bad commentator there. So, yeah, just really, really enjoyed it. And I thought, what a cool seat in the house. You know, you're there, you got the best seat, and you get to enhance the experience or educate anyone watching it.
No, that's awesome. Big shout out to all the guys in the comments, Woody UK, the Drew 24, Houdini Sports, A Shark. Guys, thanks for tuning in. So you've been on some of the greatest arm wrestling shows out there. You've been to King of the Table. You've been to High Five, arm wrestling. Forget what theirs is again. Yeah, Knuckles Up.
Yeah.
You've been to Arm Sports Entertainment. You've been to that last one where you got your head shaved by the arm wrestling.
Oh, yeah,
The
Boston
wrestlers.
Bash. Yeah, that was a part of Sports Entertainment where I lost my hair. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So how did you, obviously starting off as commentary, you don't get right away put into organizations like this where you are a main part of the commentary and entertainment. Not only is Jake, or the Aussie arm wrestler, a commentary, but he's always a character, keeping it entertaining. We don't just want to see a lot of people, anyways, when you look at UFC and if you look at WWE and stuff, we're not only watching the wrestlers, we want to hear that entertaining commentary. We want to watch Joe Rogan like go wah and stuff.
Yeah.
And we like, and so you are kind of that sensation in arm wrestling. How did you get to that spot where you're able to be that sensation?
That's just me. That's how I watch sport. That's, you know, if you're hanging out and having a beer with me at the pub, I'm very animated when I'm having a chat and things like that. And that's just me. I can't be anyone else. I'm not smart enough to play a character or anything like that, because I'm like, I remember once getting described at an arm wrestling event as just a Labrador, like just happy to be there and things like that. And I am. I really am. So being able to be at all these events, there's sometimes when people get hired or they get asked to be involved in an event, they try and change things and pander to the audience, where I was like, they've brought me in for a reason. Two things are going to happen. I'm going to nail it, or the world wasn't ready for my style. And when it came to the first King of the Table, I just waltzed in there and thought, I'm going to fucking send this 400 yards down the fairway. I'm going to hit a home run. I'm going to throw a touchdown here, and this is going to set me up, hopefully, for the rest of my life. And so, yeah, that's just me. So when I'm in there, because I ever make mistakes. I made a huge mistake in one of the biggest moments in arm wrestling, but rectified it straight away and got lost in the moment, because first and foremost, I'm a sports fan. And as we do at times, you can get lost in the moment. And I do. And sometimes I even sit there when I commentate and I'm like, oh my God, like, what, you know, what have you just said, you idiot? But the support, whether it's good or bad, I'm grateful to be there, and I won't change. I won't change my style, probably because I can't change my style either. Because, you know, everyone's like, I shouldn't say everyone. Got a lot of support out there, but a lot of the negative feedback is you're too loud and he just shouts and things like that. I'm a loud person in general. My voice is just naturally louder. And my wife will definitely agree with that, especially when the girls go to bed. And I'm like, oh, did you get them to bed? Shh, you know, things like that. So to get in there and you know, be quiet and things like that, I'll eventually just skyrocket. You can only put me on a collar for so long.
Well, that's incredible. For those that don't know, Jake doesn't just commentary on arm wrestling. I seen recently that you were on a big in front of like 30,000 people at Aussie footy. Tell us a bit about how commentating that is, because obviously that's, as you're sharing, you enjoy many different sports. You're in there, you want to hang with anyone. How are you getting these massive opportunities? Because people might be out there trying to shut you out from certain arm wrestling opportunities, but that just seems to push you in greater leaps in other ways, and it's not making you shut down and create a bubble around yourself, but you're really growing.
Yeah, so to answer the first part of your question, there was a competition here in Australia where you had to submit a video of you doing commentary, and you got a chance to jump in the booth. Well, it might sound egotistical, it might sound confident, but I've just always believed I can hang with the best. I feel what I can bring is unique, but also once I get in there, right, hold on to your socks, I'm coming. Here we go. So then I was lucky enough to win that competition. And when I got in there. There's about 30, just over 31,000. I'm trying to think they put it up on the screen. About 31,300 people there for this Aussie Rules Legends game.
Wow.
Huge stadium here in Australia. And because we'll get about 100,000 at our grand final, 100,000 plus. Snoop Dogg's coming. Like, it's our version of the Super Bowl. It's the biggest sport in Australia. They're treated as rock stars. So then they gave me a small opportunity, and like with anything, I'm like, give me 30 seconds. I don't care. I'll show you what I can do. And just came in there, went whack, and the feedback all was pretty good, and hopefully, over time, that's where my journey takes me. That's where I want to be. I currently commentate it on a lower level, like a few divisions below, and I've built a cult following there where we might have, say, 1,500 people. So like on the weekend, we got some finals or playoffs, so to speak, and I'll have about 1,500 people. But then as the game's going on, they'll all come to where I am in the commentary booth, and they'll laugh or they'll yell at me and things like that. And then I'm like, shit, I'm really enhancing the game. And they're former players that played in the big time now playing in the local leagues. So yeah, that's been pretty good. And then when it comes to being silenced or not getting opportunities with things like that, that's fine for me. That's fine. I understand I'm not everyone's cup of tea. If you think you're going to please everyone, well, you've got no chance of succeeding. I'm just like, my wife believes in me. I believe in my talent, and a lot of it is because of my wife. Like when we first met, I couldn't listen to my own voice. Now I'm able to critique and change it. I couldn't listen to it. When I would rewatch King of the Table, I even had it on mute. But because of the belief of my wife, I'll listen and re-listen and like, oh yeah, maybe I could work with this, work with that. And I truly, as silly as it sounds, I truly do not care what anyone else thinks. You can love me, which is great, or you can dislike me, and that's your opinion. That's fine. Like, I dislike people. I think people aren't good YouTubers or good good commentators or good athletes. We all have it, but I go in there, my wife, yep, I believe in you, so off we go.
Awesome. Houdini asks, quick question here. Ask Aussie if there's one announcer that influenced him the most, whether it be soccer or basketball. Yeah,
I'm not sure. G'day, Houdini Sports. He's always tuning in. He's a legend, and so is everyone else. I'm seeing a few others jump in there as well. Yeah, I don't know if there was one. Like, especially, so when it came to announcing, I was never an announcer. Loved being a commentator. But King of the Table brought me over there like, we've already got our commentators. How do you think you'll go announcing? Give me an interview with NASA. I think I could be an astronaut. Why not? And so they gave me the microphone, and I'll never forget it. I was there and I was given a big monologue at the start of King of the Table 5, and you wear an earpiece. And Ryan Bowen was in the commentary, and they just turned to him and they went, Ryan, how long did it take for Aussie to plan that monologue? And they went, nah, that's off the top of his head. And I just heard them all go, whoa. I prefer to be like either you Joe Rogan, your podcast host, your commentator, run the press conference or something like that. I haven't had an announcer go, oh, wow, I want to stand there and announce. I would prefer to be in the commentary booth if I had to pick one, but I sometimes get both jobs, and I'm always grateful.
Well, that's awesome. What are some of the moments that you haven't maybe told people, but that embarrassed you when you were on stage or in the commentary booth or stuff? Because we all make mistakes. And many times if we're listening, some people really pick up on them, others don't. And many times, like you said, if you replay it, you're like, oh my gosh, like what the heck? Why did I say that? Or like maybe in the moment you catch yourself. What are some moments like that you've had and that you keep like thinking about?
Well, I never keep thinking about it. I understand my position in the sport. I understand that everyone's gunning for it. And I'm happy to give advice to become better commentators for anyone that wants to ask. So I never dwell on anything because I know I'm going to make mistakes. Now, the thing is, so long as they're not as long as they're not consistent. So probably my two biggest mistakes that I've had, number one is the world famous Levans in a King's move. And people still want me sacked from the sport because I did that. Now, what people don't realise, if you listen at the end of the round, Ray goes, that wasn't a King's move. And I'm like, I know. I got lost in the moment. That definitely wasn't a King's move. So you kind of take that away. But people are like, Aussie shouldn't be a commentator because he said Levan's in a King's move. That was 3 years ago. There was another one, and we call it the king of the table from hell. Anything that could go wrong went wrong. And that's when Devon pulled Leonidas, that event. And I got up there, and I gave him a monologue, and then I introduced the first athlete, forgetting and not realising my earpiece had kind of come out, and I couldn't hear anything. I forgot to get the referees on to do their little spiel. Then I introduced the first athlete. So they're probably, straight off the top of my head, they're probably the biggest mistakes per se. I'm sure there's a million mistakes, and people either watching this now or later on will go, oh, come on, mate, there's this, and this. But yeah, there's been times where I'll crack a joke and I'll just be like, oh, no, that was a bit silly. But the crowd laughed, so it must have been okay because it's just silly. And I think what makes what I do a bit more successful, and it pisses off a lot of the haters, is I don't take myself too seriously. I'm like, I'm just a dude from Melbourne that's been given an opportunity and I've taken it. And if I make a mistake, then, I'll own it. I've got no problem owning mistakes.
For sure. And then running off of that, what do you think would be your kind of advice for people who want to get into commentating? More like confidence or just running with what you're saying? Just keep on going, or what would you say?
Yeah, there's plenty of it. Just first of all, just commentate. Commentate as much as you can. Practice at home. If this is something that you want to perceive in, listen to other sporting commentators. Because if you constantly listen to myself or Neil or Travis or Ray, you are going to end up mimicking them. And we've already got a Neil. We've already got a Travis. Don't be the Timu version of that. So, and confidence is key. Confidence is key. And a lot of the times when you're in the commentary, the camera's not on you. So be prepared. Be prepared with something. Write down some notes. Oh, we've got here David Jansen, and I've just realised, in his last 6 super matches, he's gone 5-1. Bloke's on a hot streak. And then it just gives you something to talk about, because in arm wrestling, there's a lot of nothing. And you've got to fill in that airtime, which I'm lucky on the talent that I've been able to do. But yeah, just be prepared. If know your athletes, know their style and things like that. And yeah, just enjoy yourself. Just enjoy yourself. And it's a very hard, the last one's a very hard thing to do. But don't be boring. There's so many people, I can commentate. I'm like, oh, okay, let me see. Because there's different roles to commentating. And this is another reason of being prepared. You've got your colour, which I like being a colour guy. It's your ready bangs and it's coming in there, wow, after a match. There's the play-by-play guy, usually during the round. This is what's happening. This is why he's doing it. Describing step-by-step what's happening. And then if you have a third person in there, there's an anchor. And they kind of keep everything together, ensuring the other two don't speak over each other and things like that. So it's just, and also just knowing your role. A lot of the times whether it be a podcast host or a commentator, and go back and you can look at some of my early episodes. A lot of YouTubers that are coming out now are trying to make themselves better than the athlete. They're trying to outdo the athlete. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I've got Dave Chafee here. And then they'll try and outdo Dave Chafee. Where I, whether it's in commentary or hosting, heighten them. The focus is on them. They're the megastar. Without them, I've got no one to talk to. I've got nothing to talk about. So it's knowing your role. I'm in the booth with Coach Ray. Well, I'm not going to out-analyze Coach Ray, am I? I'm not going to out-analyze him. He's very intelligent. So I'll feed him the questions. Ray, I've seen that he's coming for a hook there. Why on earth is he gone in? Well, and then Ray will go pop, 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 where Ray won't out-energize me. Ray will understand. I'm with Aussie arm wrestler. He's not going to go, that's for me. And then he knows I'll feed him in. And it's about working together. Sorry about that.
Sorry. No worries.
I don't know what popped up on my laptop. Turn off all notifications. Beautiful. Go again. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no worries. Where did the Ready Bang come from as you open up your show every time? Entertaining. Everyone knows it by Aussie Arm Wrestler and the Ready Bang. How did that signature for your show come?
It was an accident. It was pure. All my catchphrases are accidents, and I think that's better when people try and I hate it when people give themselves their own nicknames. Don't give yourself your own nickname. But anyway, so Ready Bang in Australia, when two people collide or someone kicks a massive 50, 60-meter goal, we just yell out bang. That's what we do. We just go bang like that, and we just yell it out. So then watching arm wrestling and understanding it's ready go at the start, when I was doing my little voiceovers on Instagram, not knowing, it wasn't until people would comment in my early Instagram videos that I wouldn't know until, people would be at training. And I'm like, oh, I've got 4 messages. This is unreal. And people are like, Ready Bang. And I'm like, what's going on here? And then I went back and watched the video and I was like, there it is. There it is. And so at the start of the match, the point was trying to get across because a lot of the times not much happens. So the point was to get across, here's when the athletes are starting. Here's when the arm-to-arm combat happens. Bang. And, just put them both together and sold a few T-shirts. And, anywhere I go, and it's so humbling, guys, and it makes me smile every time. I have spoken to athletes that cannot speak a lick of English. The very first time I met Alexei Voivoda and Levan Saganishvili, when Levan was pulling Erdemis and I walked into the venue together, and I was like, there's the big guy. And he looked at me. This was before he really started speaking English. And he just looked at me and went, Ready Bang. And that's all he says to me. And, and I'm just like, oh, my God, whether it's the number one in the world or, people first just started training and things like that. They're like, anywhere I go, I walk into the room, Ready Bang, Ready Bang. And I'm just like, it fills my heart. Never in a million years do you think you're going to make an impact in sports or the sport that you love. And the fact that I've got a couple of catchphrases and people are aware of who I am, it is indescribable is probably how to best put it.
That's awesome. Houdini's with another question. Here I missed it. Oh, which is the best sporting event you've been to, either in person or on TV?
The best sporting event in person was the 2014 AFL Grand Final, only because my team was playing in it. We won. there was about 101,000 there, or just under 100,000 there, and you watched the team win. We'd just gone back to back. We ended up winning 3 in a row. Excuse me. That was unbelievable. I wouldn't call it a sporting event, and I kind of sound like a flog saying it, but running across the country of Australia, I've done that a couple of times, and that was something I was personally involved in. That was something groundbreaking that I didn't think the human body could do, but I ran like 666 miles and then just under 1,000 miles. So, wow. Yeah, so I'm usually about 10 to 15 kilos lighter, but I've got a titanium hip. I'm riddled with arthritis, and I can't run anymore. And I used to really enjoy running and playing sports. So I'm not a big fan of dieting. I enjoy my food. So I'm at 100 kilos when I should be 85, 90 kilos. So I jump up and down a fair bit. But yeah, and then anything on TV. Look, I've enjoyed the WrestleManias that I've been to. I enjoyed the Bicep Bash in Vegas. King of the Tables have been amazing. There's just so many. I could answer that question for about 3.5 hours.
No, that's awesome. How was it running? Obviously, that's very different than arm wrestling and stuff. How'd you get into running?
Oh, I just played Aussie rules footy. Now, if you go watch a bit of Aussie rules footy, they're just absolute specimens. And yeah, I was just I more played that. And then I had someone tell me, they were like, oh my God, you don't stop running when you play. I'd like, yap. And I'd run and I'd run and I'd run. And then, yeah, someone challenged me to run a marathon. And I was like, oh, I'll give it a go. 6 weeks training, bang, ran a marathon. Done. I thought, here we go. We could go from there. It wasn't that I really enjoyed it. I don't think anyone really enjoys running. If they do, you're a psychopath. But I was good at it. I could run 12 miles, go and train, like 20 kilometers, go and train, high-intensity training for 2 hours, and then run back home. Like, I was getting ridiculously fit. Yeah. And then, of course, when you talk so much, well, I swear my lungs are twice the size of anyone else, the amount I could bloody talk.
Oh, my gosh. That's insane. I have never ran 27 kilometers or 12 miles in one shot. So that's 1,000 miles is crazy. How many days did that take?
30 days. It was 50 Ks a day, every day for 30 days. I ran basically from Ryan Bowen, Lachlan Adair's house to my house. If you look at a map, 1,500 kilometers, like 960 miles or something like that over 30 days. And it was hot. It was hot every day.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What are some of the events that you promote the most, and why do you promote them?
As in for arm wrestling?
Yes, sir.
It's more wide. I think it's the way my theory is, because I have a lot of people reach out to me, and I'm very grateful. They're like, "Hey, can we do a show about this event?" And it'll be 6 months down the line, and it's like, there's no point. No one wants to talk about it. Everyone wants to talk about the thing that is happening now. You know, that's the thing we want to talk about. So, like, soon you'll see. Sorry.
Hang in Jersey.
Well, that's, that all kicked off. So hopefully, that's all behind us. But, some of the next events are coming up that I'll be talking about. So like Auden, Larratt and Milo are going to come on the show. They just competed at the Major Arm Wrestling Championship, and Auden just had a match announcement. So we're going to chat about that. And I try and lead it up to that. So then my next event I'm going to, where are we in September? The next event I'm going to is in October here in Australia. So I'll get some Australians on the show and we'll chat about that. Then boom, once that's done, it's talk about GVW, which is coming up. That one in Georgia, because people want to talk about that. And then as soon as that's done, the next one will be East versus West. So it's more just talking about whatever's coming up. Obviously, people want to hear about the big names, so that's what I've been drawn to talk about. So that's how my theory goes. Like if someone reaches out and goes, "Oh, we've got this event in March. Can we come on your show and talk about it?" Yeah, but you'll come on like 2 weeks beforehand. Like there's no point doing a show now. No one will care. No one's going to run out and buy your pay-per-views or tickets 6 months beforehand. We're lazy. We're very lazy. We have to literally personally message people on the day, hey, this event's on, buy the pay-per-view and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I know myself, I'm extremely lazy in that aspect, and that is why I tend to, if I'm having somebody on my show, even though it's small, I text them on the day, remind them a couple times, just because I know for myself, it's so easy to forget stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're a married man, you have daughters, right?
Correct. Two of the best. No, not two of the best. The best. Got the best wife and 2 miracle babies. We weren't supposed to have them, and we've got them, so they're genuine rock stars.
Well, that's awesome, and that's a huge blessing, and I believe that every man that has a wife and kids should believe that they are the best. I feel the same way about my wife and daughter, and I think that's always incredible. You've been in some very hot takes lately. You've been amidst your commentary. People have talking shit about you. They've said you're pretty much blaspheming other people. You're saying stuff. You're posting stuff. When I watch it, I see that Jake is being truthful to himself. It doesn't matter what other people think. What you believe is the truth, that is what you're going to put out there, regardless of the outcome. Give me background to why you are that way and if that's a right statement or wrong.
Oh, yeah, probably right. Look, I haven't, I'm sure it's all out there in the internet because I don't really watch too much. And, if people want to talk shit about me, that's fine. But when I'm on my channel, sometimes maybe my frustrations get the better of me. And sometimes I should keep my mouth shut, but I haven't really. And I have to speak my mind straight away. Not so much straight away, but sometimes I just think it is better if things are spoken of straight away instead of built up anger, and then you explode, whether it's in relationships or at arm wrestling. I'll have some hot takes, but I've had hot takes my whole career. I've even been there in events because a lot of the times people ask, hey, what do you think of this and what do you think of that? And I don't have the filter to tell them that everything was amazing. I'm happy to go, well, A, B, and C were great. Probably need to fix D because that could become out of control. And then on I assume you're talking about the last live that I did. I think what had happened there is I'm just rooting, and it probably didn't come across that way. And second of all, people shouldn't take me too seriously. But I am rooting for them so much that I'm just seeing the exact same mistakes that I'm seeing with other promotions, and then they end up failing. And when I do these takes, it's not always what I say is the answer. I love discussion. And if you look like halfway through the last live that I did, I was yapping away and I'm like, well, they've done this wrong and this shouldn't work. And then someone did a comment and I was like, now we're talking. Okay, this makes sense. Now, if this is the reason, then I'm on board. So I'll say my things. And if people take it to heart, well, that's kind of on them if they're going to get too upset. And it's a shame that we in the arm wrestling community that people will watch a live and then they'll quickly record or take something out of context and send it off to them and go, he's talking shit about you. But if you actually sit and watch, I think I went for about an hour and 10 minutes, I'm jovial. I'll put my point across, but I'm also open to discussion and have my mind changed.
No, and I didn't mean that as a negative, because I believe if we're out there, I don't mean that as a negative as well at all. I've watched Aussie arm wrestler this long because I enjoy the truthfulness that he brings, regardless of it all. So obviously you're aware of the events up and coming, the events past. Recently we had a MAC event, MAC 4. They had a prelim card and then a pay-per-view card. I know a lot of people have had different opinions. What are your opinions on the prelim matches that anyone can watch for free? If people aren't able to afford the pay-per-view, or however, if people want to get a feel for how the streaming and quality is going to be, what are your thoughts?
Oh, it's necessary. I've been flying this flag for 8. I've had many chats with Ian Carnegie. I think it's necessary. I think prelims are a good way to get fence sitters to come to your side. You know, those 50-50 people, oh, not sure. Then when you cut to the pay-per-view, it gives them a fear of, oh, geez, there's 150 people in the chat and they're all going to go to the pay-per-view. Oh, no, I'm going to miss out of everything's happening. Oh, shit, the Lara boys are pulling. Artem Taranenko and Alan Ford are pulling. Oh, the Savage Ontarian. Oh, geez, and things like that. Or they might find a new favourite puller. You're watching the pre's and the prelims, like, holy crap, like this dude's a stud, or this lady's awesome. So I think they are necessary. I do think arm wrestling needs to move away from the pay-per-view platform, because every week there's a pay-per-view and it's getting to the stage now where people are only just saving for the East versus West ones, because if you got to spend money, then you want to spend it on the top athletes, and that's no disrespect to anyone else, but every time I wake up on Facebook, that's a pay-per-view, that's a pay-per-view, that's a pay-per-view. So I like the prelims. I think it's a great way to boost your channel as well if you're looking to get monetization, or you are at monetization, and then you can re-click the matches and resend them out. It's a good way for the audience also to give feedback. Hey guys, camera 2, it's blurry on our end. Me too. Bang. Okay, that's free. You stuff up on YouTube, that's okay. Then they can fix all the things. The Monster Factory back in the day, they would always do prelims and that on the day before to nut out all of those things. So I think it's so much benefit in having prelims for free.
Yeah, I agree with the moving away from the pay-per-view model. I think that is we're getting to the point where it's outdated. Obviously, we're not going to be able to sign, or us as arm wrestling, going to be able to sign a contract like UFC just did, 7.1 billion or whatever they did. But I know we'd all love to. But one thing I heard about you speaking about yesterday, and I just want to reiterate what you were saying, and that is people that are in business speaking with other people don't need to just say they're speaking with them. If you are coming up to something, release it with a ready bang, or however you want to do it. You have a huge announcement or something, release it that way. Don't be on lives for 6 months in advance saying you're talking, and then 6 months later say, well, it all fell through.
Yeah. A perfect example was the Devon documentary. I'm not sure if you're aware that they made a Devon documentary and it was just taking forever. And ironically, I was on the phone to the gentleman who made the documentary today, but it was just, even I kept doing it. I just spoke with the guys and this is happening. Just spoke with the guys. And now I'm just like, dude, keep me up to date. When that documentary, you've got a date for release, then we'll go hard. I understand, like, getting people happy. Oh, we're talking to these people, we're talking to that person, going to do this, going to do that. I don't know if it's my age, but I need results. So it's like, we've signed We've signed Jim Ross from wrestling. He's going to be our guest commentator. It's like, holy shit, that's amazing. And then all the YouTubers will make the videos. Jim Ross has just been signed to East versus West. Fantastic. And it's not just with East versus West. I just think for everyone out there, I think just come in with facts, because if you ever get time to speak to your Toddzillas and your Dave Chaffees and everything, they've seen it all before. Promises, 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 and doesn't deliver. Promises, 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 and doesn't deliver. This is I don't know how many times I've been messaged, hey, we want you to come to our event. It's going to be the next best thing ever. We've got this. We're going to get this. We're going to get that. We're going to have this. We're going to have that. And I'm just like, just tell me if they are. Tell me when they are coming. I said, I'll come over and commentate. Just tell me when they are. Come on now.
Yeah, don't oversell yourself and then shoot yourself short in the end. I think that's huge in anything. And I think if people want to take us to a bigger spot in this world, we have to understand it sometimes as a business as well.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Jake. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time for us. I appreciate you just coming on and sharing everything that you have with us. Where can people find you? I understand probably most people do know you, but give us where we can find you and everything.
Yeah, just type in Aussie arm wrestler and you type it in on anywhere and this ugly mug will turn up. And yeah, no, I enjoy it. Love coming on the show. I love being on shows like this because we all started at zero. And it took for, people to help me out. So anyone, obviously, if the time permits, because we had a couple of goes at this to try and get the correct time. But yeah, I'm always happy to go on just about anyone's show because I know what it's like. You start at zero, you've got aspirations to beat 1 million, and I do think we just all need to help each other, especially in the YouTube sense, because it's getting nasty out there. But that's for another show.
Yes, sir. One day at a time. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you're in the chat, please hit the like, hit the subscribe.